Welcome to Storytime, a place where real fear meets the unknown. Here, we dive into true scary stories, chilling suspense, dark mysteries, and haunting horror that will make you question what's real and what's watching. Every story is carefully told to pull you into the shadows because sometimes the most terrifying things actually happened. New stories drop 3 times a week, so if you love suspense, mystery, and horror that keeps you up at night, this channel was made for you. Make sure you subscribe, like, and follow Storytime so you never miss a story. Turn on notifications because the next one might be worse than the last.
Valentine's Day fell on a Friday that year. I remember because I was already irritated before anything even happened. My job had run late. My phone had been buzzing all day with group chats about dinner plans and Valentines nonsense. By the time I pulled into my apartment complex, the sky was dark and the parking lot lights were flickering like they always did. I wasn't thinking about romance. I was thinking about food. That's when I saw the roses. A bouquet. Real ones. Wrapped in black paper, like somebody was trying to make it look classy and romantic at the same time. They were sitting right in front of my door. My first thought was that they were for my neighbor. My second thought was that they were a prank. Because nobody was sending me flowers. I didn't have a boyfriend. I hadn't even been dating seriously. The last guy I'd talked to was a man I met at a coworker's birthday dinner. A quiet, handsome type who asked a lot of questions and never really answered any. His name was Marcus. We'd only gone out twice. Both times were fine. Not magical, not terrifying, just fine. Still, my stomach tightened as I stared at those roses. I looked up and down the hallway. No one. Just the hum of the building's air vents and the faint sound of a TV through someone's wall. I leaned down, grabbed the bouquet, and found a small envelope tucked into the wrapping. No name. Just my name written on the front. Not printed, not typed. Handwritten. And not in a cute way. In a slow, deliberate way. Like whoever wrote it wanted to make sure it looked exactly how they wanted. I opened it right there in the hallway. Inside was a small card. It read, "You look prettier when you don't rush." That was it. No Happy Valentines. No heart. No signature. Just that sentence. My throat went dry. Because earlier that morning, I had spilled coffee on my shirt, cursed under my breath, and rushed out the door half-dressed, hair still damp from the shower, because I was late. Nobody was supposed to know that. Not unless they were inside my apartment. Or watching me. I stood there for a full minute, frozen, staring at my own door. Then I forced myself to laugh quietly like it was nothing. Like it was normal. Because that's what your brain does when something feels too wrong to process. I unlocked the door. The second I stepped inside, I knew something was off. Not because the place was trashed, not because anything obvious was missing, but because the air smelled different. Like someone had been in there. Like cologne. Something sharp and clean. My apartment had been empty all day. It should have smelled like the candle I burned the night before. It didn't. I turned on the lights. Everything looked the same. I walked to the kitchen, the living room, the bathroom. Still the same. Then I went to my bedroom and stopped. Because my closet door was cracked open. I always closed it. Always. I walked closer. My heart was beating so hard it made my ears ring. I grabbed the closet handle and yanked it open. Empty. Just my clothes hanging neatly, shoes lined up. But my bed had a single rose on it. One rose. placed dead center on the pillow like it belonged there. And beside it was my hairbrush, the one I kept in the bathroom. I hadn't moved it. I hadn't touched it. I stood there and didn't breathe. My brain started searching for excuses. Maybe I forgot. Maybe I left the closet cracked. Maybe I moved the brush earlier. But my hands were shaking, because deep down, I knew the truth. Someone had been in my apartment. I backed out of the bedroom and locked myself in the bathroom, phone in hand. I called my best friend first, not the police. That's another thing people don't talk about. When something terrifying happens, your first instinct isn't always the right thing. It's the familiar thing. She answered immediately. "Hey girl, what's wrong?" "I think somebody was in my apartment." She went silent for half a second. Then, "Are you alone?" "Yes." "Leave, now." I told her I couldn't. I told her I didn't know. I told her I didn't want to look crazy. She cut me off. "Get your keys and go outside." I did. I grabbed my purse, keys, and phone. I didn't even put on shoes. I walked out with socks on, bouquet still sitting in the hallway like a joke. I went down the stairs and out into the parking lot, standing under a streetlight like it could protect me. My friend stayed on the phone. Then my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. The message said, "You forgot the rose." My chest went cold. I looked up at my apartment building. My unit was on the second floor, and in my window, I saw the blinds shift. Just slightly, like someone had moved them back into place. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I just ran. I ran across the parking lot, socks sliding on pavement, heart pounding, and I didn't stop until I was inside my car with the doors locked. My friend was yelling in my ear, "Call 911! Call 911!" I did. I told the dispatcher my apartment might have an intruder. I told them I saw movement in my window. They asked for my address. My voice cracked while I gave it. The police arrived within minutes. 2 officers walked up the stairs. 1 stayed outside. They told me to stay in my car. I watched from below as the officers entered my unit. The hallway light flickered again. And I realized something that made my stomach twist. The roses in the hallway were gone. Gone. I stared at the spot where they had been. Empty carpet. No black wrapping. No petals. Nothing. Like they never existed. I told the officer outside. His face changed immediately. He radioed upstairs. The officers came back down. One of them asked me a question I'll never forget. "Do you have an attic access panel in your closet?" I blinked. "No, I don't think so." He nodded slowly. Then he said, "We found one." I felt my whole body go numb. He explained that in my bedroom closet, above the clothing rack, there was a square panel in the ceiling, painted the same color as the walls. He said it looked like it hadn't been touched in a while. But tonight, there were fingerprints in the dust, and the panel wasn't fully secured. The officers went back upstairs. This time, they brought a flashlight and a ladder. I sat in my car, watching the windows. My friend was still on the phone, whispering prayers like she was trying to keep me alive with words. A few minutes later, I saw one officer appear at my balcony door. He stepped outside, and he held up something in a clear evidence bag, a small black envelope, the same kind the card came in. He looked down at me. Even from that distance, I could see his expression. It wasn't calm. It was disturbed. They came back down and told me I couldn't go inside. They said I needed to stay somewhere else for the night. I asked them if they found someone. The officer hesitated. Then he said, "We didn't find anyone. But they did find things. They found my bathroom hairbrush inside my bedroom. They found the single rose. They found the envelope. And they found a phone charger plugged into an outlet behind my dresser. Not mine. A charger that didn't match any of my devices. Like someone had been living there quietly, charging a phone, waiting. I went to my friend's house that night. I didn't sleep. I sat on her couch with my knees pulled to my chest, staring at her front door. At 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. One message. Next time, don't leave your lights on. I changed my number the next day. I moved out 2 weeks later, and I tried to convince myself it was over, that it was just some random intruder, some creep, some stranger. Then, months later, I was cleaning out my email, and I found something in my spam folder. A calendar invite. From Marcus, the man I had gone out with twice. The subject line read, "Dinner, Valentine's Day." And underneath it, a note. "I already know where you live." I stared at it for a long time, because I realized something. Those roses weren't romance. They weren't even a threat. They were proof. Proof that someone had been close enough to me to learn my routines, close enough to watch me, close enough to move through my home like it belonged to them. And the worst part? I never got confirmation it was Marcus. The police couldn't prove anything. The number was untraceable. No fingerprints matched. No suspect. No arrest. Just a Valentine's Day I will never forget. Because now, every time February comes around, I don't think of love. I think of roses sitting outside my door, and the way my blinds moved, like someone inside my apartment was watching me run.
And that brings us to the end of tonight's story. If this story stayed with you, if it made you pause, think, or sent a chill down your spine, then Storytime did exactly what it was meant to do. Here on Storytime, we uncover real stories, unexplained moments, and true events that remind us. Some things are far stranger than fiction. If you enjoy suspense, mystery, and stories that linger long after the screen goes dark, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. I release new stories 3 times a week, and I'd love to have you back for the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, every story has a shadow. Good night, and I'll see you next time on Storytime.